Hello, viewers. My name is Richie Royalty, and I am sitting with the 14th evicted house guest of House of Royalty Season 2 by a unanimous vote of 2 to 0. Tori was our 14th evicted house guest. Tori, how are you feeling? What is going on? Did you see this coming?
The situation sucks. It's not a good feeling, but it was expected. I knew going into it. As soon as Max said my name, even prior, I just felt the vibe of it gonna be happening. And then with Mac immediately having a one-on-one with me talking about who he was going to nominate. He was upfront and told it was me, and I knew there was no convincing. I tried, and I knew when he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, you're right." I'll and I was like, "Talk to Keisha, get her on board." I knew it wasn't going to happen, but it was all I had. It was a long shot to do. Um and then same thing even with Keisha winning the power of veto. I knew the fact that Mac put me up, she wasn't going to go ahead and use it on me. I knew I was going to be the target, and then the next to go would probably be the person that was sitting next to me.
Gotcha. Okay, okay. Do you have any downfalls or any regrets in the game, or what do you do you have any regrets or no?
I do. I wish I branched myself out just a little bit more. I developed a good relationship with Forever closer to the end of the game, the very tail end of it. And I feel like if I really had a better relationship with him, and then I could have gotten in there with Karina. I wouldn't have needed to waste an HOH by putting her up. I could have put someone that would have went all the way to the end in that big alliance group.
Do you
So I
regret
feel like branching myself out more.
do you regret getting out Karina on your HOA train?
You know what? I do because here I was thinking, oh, it would be a good game move for me because at that point in the time, all I wanted was guaranteed next week immunity. And I knew that the House would vote on putting her up. And I figured too, like, if it's not me, it's most likely going to be the Menace that puts her up, chances are, and she'd be the one that was going home. So that was my mindset. But without the Menace thing involved, I think strategy wise, it would have been good to put somebody else up rather than her because I don't think she was coming after me at all. Like that could have been a number that would have been willing to work with me further into the game. I kind of isolated myself further into the game with a group of people that were in an alliance all without myself.
If you had to go back, if you went back and did it again, who would you target instead if you went back in time?
I would have put up Kaylani because when I was the week two menace, I would have put Kaylani. I put Kaylani up as the week two menace, and I was so fearful of getting caught or her finding out that it was me, and I didn't want her to be skeptical about that. That's why I also kind of put Karina up. So that way I could go back and further my relationship with Kaylani and be like, yeah, I try to seek vengeance out for you, for her putting you up. Like, just so you know, I got you. This was all for you. And it did shit anyway. So if I could go back, I wish I would have put her up instead.
Okay, okay. As you know, when you came into the game, you saw Chase, and you guys are kind of connected. Were you nervous when you saw that Chase was in this season, or no? You think it aged out well?
I was nervous at first when I appeared the very first time in the meet and greet, and he's wearing his black mask, sitting in the corner looking like Batman, and he goes, "Hey, Tori." And I'm like, oh God, this is like freaking Batman trying to get vengeance on me or something. So I wanted to make sure going into this game that we were good, that like I needed to prove myself to him because he didn't like how our last game turned out when I didn't prioritize him in the game since I had a different alliance that I was working with. So that I really wanted to hold on to our relationship, and I truly like when he goes back and he watches this, he was my number one in this game.
Okay, okay. After Chase left, do you feel like that you were on the bottom of the game, or like where do you think like you kind of fell as the
Oh
game?
yeah. I mean, when Chase left, it was very eye-opening for me because part of it was due to Mac. Like Mac didn't use the power of veto to save Chase, and instead he used it on Tavon. And that like flipped a light bulb switch in my mind because I'm thinking, oh, me and Mac and Chase are supposed to be super connected. We're supposed to be final three till the end here working together. And he goes and he does that, which means he's connected to other players in the house, with other strategies in mind that doesn't protect Chase.
Okay. Do you think Mac ran this season, honestly?
Yeah, I think so. I think social strategy wise, he was very connected in there with everybody. He had different alliances and groups with everyone to be connected. He never saw himself on the block. Um, Pretty much the whole game. Like nobody was targeting Mac. I was targeting Mac, but unfortunately, I couldn't have won an HOH or anything like that to have put him up. Um, but yeah, he was definitely flying under the radar and he was very well connected.
At what point in the game did you realize that the DH Winners Alliance was not like legit or it wasn't loyal?
As soon as Chase left, like literally as soon as the voting happened, I knew, I no matter what, since I'm loyal, I knew Chase wasn't going to stay. And so I still voted to keep him in the house, but I portrayed myself in the house for the rest of the game as someone that didn't vote to keep him. I was like, it sucks as much as I liked working with Chase. I just knew he wasn't going to have the numbers in order to make sure Mac wasn't getting skeptical of me being skeptical of him. And Keisha didn't vote to save him. So, like, as soon as that happened and there was no talk about it or like, wow, that really sucks, a get back together and debriefing, I knew that it was all bullshit. So that at that point on is when I became really skeptical over Keisha and Mac. And I felt more connected to Ty.
Gotcha. Okay. What is one word to describe your gameplay this season?
Oh, one word to describe it. Um, that's a tough one. If I could do one word to describe my gameplay, I don't want to say chaotic because I wasn't really chaotic in the game. I mean, I tried to like throw some zingers out there here and there. Um, mm, This is a tough one. I can't think of a word to summarize my gameplay. Like, not just one word.
Speech. If you had to give like 3 words, how would you summarize it then?
I would say, no, I wanted to say like not a word to describe it, but like a term like go with the flow, which is four. I think I was very go with the flow on things, trying to feel out where the majority was lying, so that way I could blend in better with people that I felt skeptical about. So I would say I maybe paranoid.
Okay, okay. In your casting interview, when I did your casting interview, you said if you had to compare yourself to any reality TV star, it'd be Tommy Bracco. Do you think your game kind of radiated Tommy Bracco energy or no?
What? I forgot about that. And now that you bring that up,
You
I
guys both came in fifth.
we both came fifth and I felt blindsided. Like I felt betrayed, as I'm sure Tommy felt very betrayed in his season with the stuff that was going on with him and people like targeting him to get him out. Um, I felt like we were both in icky situations. You're
Okay.
right.
Damn, okay. What were your honest thoughts on this game? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did you have fun?
Oh, I loved it. I had a great time. It definitely gave me something to look forward to during the work week. Would definitely recommend playing this. I didn't I enjoyed the cast. I didn't think it ever got too messy. I never felt like, that nervous, sick to my stomach feeling in like compared to other games that I've played in the past. Um, I think everyone was it was a very respectful game.
Yes, it was definitely, and I don't fuck with the whole personal attack thing. And I know some of the games
Yeah,
out there do that, and I don't fuck with that. So,
me neither.
um,
It makes me so nervous.
it's anxiety ridden. It really is, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, who do you think deserves to win this game, and who does not deserve to win?
Mm. Well, we have three people left in the game at this point. So we have Kaylani, Ty, and Keisha. I think it's going to come down between Kaylani and Ty. I'm very curious to for them to present their cases. Um, because with Kaylani, I think she was also connected with a lot of people, very strong competitor, but also coming across as, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, like half the time. But I think that was part of her strategy to get herself to the end. I think everything happens for a reason. And I think she's a very smart player. Um, she fooled me when she first put me up. That's what also helped me open up my eyes, like, oh, I'm not as connected to these people as she is. And she was able to do that. And then you have Ty, who also like very connected to, but he didn't branch himself out. Like he didn't really from my perspective, I don't think he talked to as many people as like Kehlani did in the game, maybe even Keisha. Um, so I think it's a possibility he could win, but I think he needs to present a very strong case in doing so. And same thing for Keisha. Keisha laid low this entire game. She, I think, wanted to present herself as someone that was very non-threatening, um someone that it would be good to take to the end because hey, like, she's barely won any comps, but she hasn't been on the block. um she's not a game threat. She's very, hey love, how are you, how's your day, talking about stuff that's not game related. And I think that was her strategy. So I think they all have three different games. They were all three of them connected to each other, but I want to know how they branched out um away from each other and what they did throughout the game that the others can't take credit for.
Okay. In each final two scenario, who do you think honestly wins? Like, let's start off with Kalani and Keisha. Who do you think wins out of those two?
I think Kilani,
Okay. What about Keisha and Ty?
that's where I really don't know. Um my guess would be Ty.
Okay. And what about Kalani and Ty?
I really think Kalani's winning this. And when I was in the game, I tried saying that. I tried because I saw these people were not putting her up on the block. And I'm like, yo, I see the connection to everybody. And, Ty was vouching for her, but then she had no problem putting him on the block. And then Mac and Keisha were not putting her on the block at all. Like she has a lot of blood on her hands, and she was the messiest player this season. Like she didn't hold anything back. She fought with a lot of jurors on the way out, and I think the jurors will respect that gameplay.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Well, that was my final question. I'm now going to turn over to Chantel, who's going to ask you some questions.
Hello,
Chantel.
can you hear me?
Okay.
Hey.
Hey, okay. Do you have any regrets?
Yeah, I was talking to Richie about my regrets. I think I should have done a better job at forming more connections early on in the game with your Marcy, Karina, Forever. I kind of cut out Forever early on after the whole Tavon and Jay, where the houses started to divide. And that's where an alliance started to form that I wasn't part of. And Forever tried to connect with me and stay connected in the game, and I just wasn't having it. And then during my HOH, I put on the block Karina, thinking that it would give me guaranteed immunity, which it did. And overall house majority, she would go, and I didn't want the menace to have a chance to put her up because whoever I put up next to her, she would be leaving anyway. So I wish that I thought about my nom a little bit harder early on when I did win HOH, because looking back at it, Karina probably was not going to come after me. She was going to go after the bigger group. Um, and I just wished I realized sooner than later that I was at the bottom of that Pinky Swear Alliance group. So that would be like what I regret. Oh, I don't know if you're talking because you're muted.
Oh, sorry, I was talking to you. If oh well, you already answered that. Do you are you upset with Max still?
Yeah, you know what? I am. I like karma coming back around because, it was me, Mac, and Chase that I wanted to get to the end with. Um, that's like my gameplay, how I typically play these games. And as soon as I saw Mac not helping out Chase by giving him the power of veto, taking him off the block with the power of veto that he won, and instead saving Tavon, I saw where those lines were crossed. And I think throughout the rest of the game, he knew that I didn't like that. Um, and I think we're playing like fake nice to each other and just like being more fake throughout the game. Um, and so I wasn't surprised that he nominated me at the end. I wouldn't use that word. I think I definitely saw it coming, but I'm just disappointed of what could have been.
Okay. Do you th- do you think that had Chase still been in the game, do you think you would have made it a lot further?
Um, no. I think if Chase were still in the game, I would have been more of a target. Me and Chase would have been more of a target. I tried doing my best to branch away from Chase, and it was a sucky situation that he left as early as he did, but it benefited my game in a way because people no longer looked at me being connected heavily to another player. They looked more so at me now as a free agent willing to work with anybody in the house. When before, when Chase was in the game, I knew there were conversations going around talking about, me and Chase working together. That's a threat. They need to get separated. So I, it probably would have hurt my game if he lasted a little bit longer. But in a perfect world, I would have loved for us to work together, decide on who our targets were going to be, and us form a group with us in it um, to combat the other group.
Okay. Do you think that after Chase left that you weren't able to like make any tighter bonds? Like I felt like your bonds weren't as tight with people as you were with Chase.
I think because of Chase leaving, it led
Mhm.
to me being super skeptical because while Chase was still in the game, I felt really close and comfortable working with Mac, Keisha. Um, those are two names right there where as soon as I saw Mac's gameplay not saving Chase, and then the people that I thought were gonna vote to keep Chase, not keep Chase, that raised an alarm for me. And then going forward in the game, um, I noticed my relationship with those two contest players drifting because I lost trust in them. So I think by them showing their colors, like where they stood in the game at that point, that's what made me realize, oh, like if they're doing that to Chase, they can do that to me. So I gotta be very careful and tread lightly. And I think it helped my relationship grow further with Ty. Um, but again, I wasn't at the top of anyone's rankings, I don't think. Like there was definitely a pecking order in that alliance. And I was at the bottom of that alliance that I knew that they had more alliances, that group that I was in, with other people such as Kehlani, such as Daniel. And then that's why I even tried to like extend my hand to Daniel, who I haven't talked too much in that game until then. Um, Try to reach back out to Zion and form something with Forever. So I think I tried to navigate working with other people at that point, but the game was already moving along so much that it was late jumping ship.
Okay. Um, do you think, okay, let's talk about this big alliance. Were you surprised to find out that they were all working together, or you had a feeling?
No, I had a feeling.
Okay.
So when Mac and I were when I was very trusting of Mac. Mac would give me updates like, yeah, because I knew that he was already really close in there with Ty, Tavon, and he would tell me like, oh, what you're saying to Ty right now is perfect because he's letting me and the group know that, he's starting to trust you and thinks that we can work with you. So just by his words that he was using, um, that allowed me to know without him fully coming out and saying that there is a group of them already talking. Of course, he left out exactly who's in the group and, Kehlani being involved and Daniel being part of a group at one point with them. But I knew that I was almost earning my way into that group. And then when Keisha solidified it, saying, let's all pinky promise, I knew
Mhm.
at that time that it that's not the first group of all of them being part of being formed.
Mhm.
I think I perceived it as okay, they're covering their tracks with me. They feel good with me. They want to work in a group with me. But I'm
Mhm.
sure they have that with other people. I didn't expect Kaylani, really, but I expected like Aaliyah for them to try to like work really well with because I think she played a great game, a very individualized game. Um and I think that they were nervous with her in the game and they wanted to work with her instead of against her. So I had my thoughts on that. I kind of got the vibe like while working in the game that they were all very well connected, and that's why I couldn't, even though I trusted Ty a lot, I couldn't come out and still tell him like my fears about, okay, like this is what I'm thinking about Mac and Keisha. Like this is what happened in the last game because they were already well connected before they did that to Chase. So,
Mhm.
like Mac, when he made that move to save Tavon, it was in good favor for Ty and Tavon. So I can't go back and say, Ty, I really don't trust them because of what they did to me.
Okay, okay. Do you think that big alliance was formed before the DH1ers or before the you, Chase, Mac, and Zion? Like,
Or yeah, it was
what do you think? When do you think it was formed?
I think it was formed right when the Jay Tate Vaughn nominees happened, right? Because
Hmm.
I don't think Aaliyah was ever in that big group because she was the HOH and she was the one that nommed the two. And I think it started off as a, let's save Tavon, like, we could work with you. Um and that's where I think the lines automatically started because then Forever was rallying people like me, Karina, Bubbles, um, to try to keep Jay. And I had no problem doing so. But then when I started to hear other things about, you know, people wanting Tavon to stay, that kind of made me realize like, okay, there's something forming here.
Hmm. Okay,
Like there's a consensus forming.
okay,
To do that as in a group.
okay. Um, did you feel like you had a number one ally in this game?
In the beginning, Chase, and then Mac, and then second tier, I trusted Ty and Keisha, but that shifted so much in the game. Like that shifted with the whole Chase thing when I saw how they played him. And then I was very skeptical of them, tried to branch off away from them. started to divert my attention and gameplay towards Aaliyah and Forever, tried to get Daniel, but then Daniel went and told Mac, and I'm like, damn, Mac is so connected in this game. Like, Daniel went ahead and told him all of this already. And so I knew from that point forward too, like getting caught there between what Daniel said to Mac, there was no way Mac was trusting me going forward in the game. So again, that was also that fake like, oh yeah, we're working to with each other, we got each other. But then when it came down to it in the end, like, I wanted to target him, and I'm sure he's been wanting to target me for quite a long time now. Um, yeah.
Okay. Um, so there was a moment, I think it was the round that you got evicted. You were in the breakout room with Keisha, and you asked her why she's not using the veto on you. And then about she asked
Oh,
you
what Aaliyah
something about
said.
Aaliyah thing.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh yeah, what was that with what Aaliyah had mentioned during the last round when you and Aaliyah were on the block?" To be honest, I don't even remember the question that much. I think Keisha used that as an excuse,
Mm-hmm.
as a reason to put me up. I think if Aaliyah had never even mentioned any of that, um, Keisha still would have put me up because Ty
But
also
Keisha didn't put you up. Mac put you up.
right, right, right. I meant her using the power of veto.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay.
so yeah, even without Aaliyah saying that,
Mm-hmm.
Keisha still wouldn't have used the power of veto. Max still would have put me up, and Ty put me up last round. Like, I was definitely the bottom barrel when it came down to me, Mac, Keisha, Ty, and Kaylani. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that surprised me during the last two rounds was me realizing how close Keisha, Kaylani, and Mac were working together, and then Ty feeling super close to Kaylani. That kind of caught me by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because I expected Ty when it was his HOH to put up Kaylani and someone else and not me. So that caught me off guard. But then when Keisha said she wasn't using the power of veto on me, like, I knew that going into it. I knew
Mm-hmm.
it was going to be very hard to try to convince her because with Mac already putting me up, I know those two super close. She's not going to go back and do something differently that Mac had already arranged.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I definitely knew that I was the target. And then my guess would be Ty next, since Ty was also put up on the block next to me out of any of the rest.
Do you think when Kaylani was like questioning you, do you think that that added an extra nail in your coffin?
When she was questioning me, like,
Yeah,
when I got evicted, like right before.
just before the vote.
Um, I mean, I knew at that point there was nothing I could really do. I knew she wasn't going to vote to keep me. She just wasn't. So my
Mhm.
only chance was catering to Keisha, and Mac in the event there was a tie. If there was some possible way that Keisha saved me, and voted to evict Ty, and then Kaylani voted to evict me, it would be left up for Mac. So I was trying to convince them in any way possible. Like, think about going into the next round, like, if you lose me and ties in the game, like, what's going to happen then next? Whereas if you get Ty out now and I'm in the game, I'm kind of letting you know, Mac and Keisha, my target is Kaylani, and we can make that happen, the three of us, to guarantee that the two of you won't be going home, because you guys could put me on the block again since you already did, or it could be Kaylani. But that's the thing, like, they were so closely
Do you
connected to
do
her.
you think that saying that was the right move though? Because it was only Kehlani and Keisha voting.
I knew I wouldn't be able to convince Kaylani. I thought there was a possibility of being able to convince Keisha, and all I needed was that one person out of the two convinced, so that way it could be left up to a tie for Mac. Because I pictured in that moment Mac and
Mhm.
Keisha doing whatever the other one wanted to do. Like if Keisha voted to keep me in the game, then
Mhm.
there was a high chance that Mac then would have also saved me and would have eliminated, been the tiebreaker
Mhm.
vote and voted out tie. So looking at it, with three people, Kaylani and I were coming after each other. Like I couldn't have tried to be fake. And so I tried to go after and convince the two other people um to keep me. And it didn't work. It was a long shot, but I did what I could.
Mhm. Yeah, no, you played a great game. I've never seen you play from this type of position
I
before,
know,
which is
because
very interesting
played
to watch.
together. We played together last time, and then, but that game was also very different. Like,
Oh
it
yeah.
was very hot-headed, heated,
Hmm.
and like
Yeah.
I was just trying to stay above water and like win. And I think, yeah, I mean, there was a reason why I won that last game.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I
I don't
think
have any.
I was way more connected
Yeah.
with people last game versus this game for sure.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I don't have any further questions. Back to you, Richie.
Thank you, Chantel. Okay, Tori, any closing thoughts?
I am very excited for the winner to be announced. I am excited to hear the cases. I have a lot of questions that I want to bring to the table and really try to like dissect everyone's gameplay and their strategies and like maybe even trust rankings.
Ooh, okay, okay. Well, I can't wait to see it. But once again, Tori, thank you so much for playing this season. We will see you on Tuesday for the jury roundtable, and then Thursday and Sunday for the finale and the reunion. But
All
once
right.
again, thank you so much for playing, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Thank you. See you Tuesday.
See